You finally paid off a credit card, felt great, and then your score dropped. That feels broken, right? Here's the twist. Credit scores don't measure how responsible you are with money. They measure how safe and profitable you look to lenders. That's why moves that help you can still ding your score. I'm going to show you what credit scores really measure and the 3 levers that actually move it. And we'll pull back the curtain on the biggest credit score lie. This system was built for lender profit, not your benefit. It's time to learn how money works. Okay, so basically, credit scoring as you know it comes from one company, Fair Isaac Corporation, or FICO. Back in 1989, they rolled out the modern score that banks use to approve loans at scale. Think of it like a game where everyone's playing, but only one company wrote the rulebook, and they sell access to it. Here's the weird part. You're not FICO's customer. Lenders are. Banks, auto lenders, credit card companies, these are the people FICO serves. Your score is a product sold to them so they can decide how much to lend you and at what interest rate. In other words, the score is designed to predict how likely you are to pay them back with interest, not how smart you are with money. Now, this all begs the question, why does responsible behavior sometimes lower your score? Because the model is trained to predict risk from a lender's view, not your goals. Paying off a loan can reduce your credit mix or close a positive account, which can lower your score even though your finances improved. Closing a credit card can shrink your available credit, driving your utilization ratio higher overnight. Opening a new card can help your utilization, but it also hits you with a hard inquiry and lowers your average account age. None of that is about morality, it's statistical. Everything clicked when I realized there isn't just one score. There are many FICO scores. FICO 8, 9, 10, industry-specific models for autos and mortgages, and even bank-customized versions. Most mortgage lenders still use older FICO models because their underwriting systems were built around them. Meanwhile, FICO 10 adds trended data, which looks at your behavior over time, not just a snapshot. So 2 lenders can see different numbers for the same person on the same day. Here's what most people miss. Those free credit score apps often show VantageScore, which is a competing model used by some banks, but not the ones that matter most for mortgages and many auto loans. So you might be looking at a number that's directionally useful, but not the one your lender will price your loan on. That's why you can walk into a dealership with a 740 on your app, and they quote you based on a 705 from an auto-enhanced FICO. Same person, different rulebook. This might seem backwards, but obsessing over tiny point swings is counterproductive. Scores naturally fluctuate a bit as your balances update, inquiries age, and accounts report. A 5 to 15-point move is normal noise. What matters is being in the right tier. Lenders price in buckets. Think 760 plus as best terms, then 740 to 759, 720 to 739, and so on. Moving from 721 to 726 won't change your rate. Crossing a tier threshold might. In other words, play the game at the level the game is played. Understand the rules lenders use to price risk. They want 3 things. 1. Proof you pay on time. 2. Evidence you can handle access to credit without maxing it out. 3. A long, stable history that suggests future behavior. That's the core. Everything else is noise. Here's the problem. The system's incentives don't always match your goals. Carrying balances is profitable to lenders, so the model favors active on-time credit usage over no usage at all. That's why a thin file with no activity can score worse than someone who uses cards and pays in full. It's not punishing frugality, it's rewarding data that predicts ongoing profit with low default risk. Now, none of this means you have to play gotcha with your finances. It means you stop taking scores personally. They're not a grade on your character, they're a forecast for a lender's spreadsheet. Once you see that, you stop chasing every point and start managing the few factors that truly move the needle. And when you do that, you get the real win. Lower rate. Here's the key takeaway. 3 levers move most of your score: payment history, credit utilization, and length of credit history. Nail these, and you land in the good tiers consistently. Miss them, and everything else becomes damage control. Let's keep this simple, practical, and lender-focused. Payment history is first because it answers the lender's biggest question. Do you pay on time? One late payment tells a stronger story than months of perfect behavior because default risk clusters around missed due dates. The simple version is this: on time equals safe, late equals risky.
Think of payment history like attendance at work. You can be a star, but if you stop showing up, everything else stops mattering. A single 30-day late mark can knock you down for months. A 60-day late is worse, and anything 90-day or more looks like distress. The aha is that you don't need perfection forever, just consistency now. Recent history counts more than old mistakes. Okay, so basically the hack is boring. Automate. Set minimum payments to autopay on every card and loan. Then pay the full statement balance before the due date to avoid interest. If cash is tight, pay at least the minimum on time, then chip away. Most models treat paid as agreed as binary, on time or not. A micro-story is someone with 4 cards, all on autopay, never thinks about due dates. Their score stays calm even during busy months. That's the point. Now, credit utilization. This is the ratio of how much revolving credit you're using compared to your total limit. It's simple math, but big impact. High utilization signals strain. Low utilization signals control. Think of it like a fuel gauge. Full access with low usage feels safe. Near empty tank feels risky to lenders. You'll hear people say, keep it under 30%. That's a ceiling, not a goal. The tight strategy is below 10% on each card and across all cards. Why? Because scores look at both the total and individual lines. One maxed card can hurt even if your total looks fine. Here's the weird part. You can pay in full every month and still show high utilization if the statement balance reports before your payment hits. The fix is easy. Pay early. If payday is mid-month and your statement cuts on the 20th, make a payment on the 18th to drop the reported balance. That way, the snapshot the bureaus see shows low usage. Real-world numbers help. If your limit is $5,000, keep the statement balance under $500. If you need to spend more in a month, split the payments so the reported balance stays low. This isn't gaming the system. It's aligning the snapshot with your true behavior. Everything clicked when I realized utilization is the fastest lever you can pull. You can't add 5 years to your history overnight, but you can move from 48% usage to 8% this week and see a meaningful bump. If you're close to a tier threshold for a mortgage or auto loan, this is the move that often pushes you over the line. Another simple tactic, ask for a credit limit increase on a card you've had for a while with on-time payments. A higher limit lowers your utilization without spending less. Just avoid increases that trigger hard pulls right before applying for a big loan. Now, length of credit history. Lenders want to see that your good habits aren't new. Scores look at average age of accounts and the age of your oldest line. Think of it like a tree ring count. Older, thicker rings signal stability. Here's where people accidentally hurt themselves. Closing your oldest card can shorten your average age over time and drop your score. You don't have to use it much. Keep the account open, put a small recurring charge on it, and let autopay handle it. You preserve the age and signal consistent management. The counterintuitive part is that chasing cleaner portfolios by closing accounts can backfire. The score doesn't care that you prefer fewer cards, it cares that you've handled access to credit for years without trouble. If an old card has an annual fee, consider downgrading it to a no-fee version rather than closing it. That keeps the line alive and your history intact. Here's the simple model to keep in your head. Payment history is the foundation. Utilization is the lever. Length of history is the moat. If the foundation cracks, everything wobbles. If the lever is pulled wrong, you look risky. If the moat is shallow, lenders can't trust the pattern.
Here are the biggest credit score myths exposed. Here's what most people miss. A lot of the anxiety around credit comes from myths that sound smart but push you into lender-friendly behavior. Let's clean those up so you can act with confidence. Myth 1. Checking your own score hurts it. It doesn't. There are 2 types of pulls. A soft inquiry is you or a monitoring service peeking at your file. No impact. A hard inquiry is when you apply for new credit and a lender checks your file to price risk. Small, short-lived dip. This is exactly the same as your boss reviewing your work versus you looking at your own notes. One is a record, the other isn't. You can and should monitor your score and reports regularly without fear.
The second myth, carrying a small balance helps your score. This one sticks because it benefits lenders. The score cares that you use credit and pay on time. It doesn't require you to pay interest. You can pay in full every month, show low utilization when the statement closes, and still get top scores. Carrying a balance adds interest cost without adding points. The confusion comes from show activity versus owe money. Use the card, let a small statement balance report, then pay it off before the due date. That signals healthy use with no fee to the bank. Myth 3. Debit cards build credit. They don't. Debit pulls from your checking account. There's no borrowing, so there's no repayment history to score. Credit scores are built on credit lines, revolving accounts like credit cards, and installment loans like student loans, auto loans, or mortgages. If you want to build credit without risk, start with a secured card or a starter credit card, use it for a few small charges, and set autopay. Debit is great for budgeting, but it won't move your score. Myth 4. Closing paid-off cards improves your score. Closing a card can actually hurt you because it reduces your available credit and, over time, may shorten your average account age. That pushes your utilization up and your history down. If the card has no fee, leave it open. If it has a fee you don't want, ask the issuer to downgrade it to a no-fee version. You keep the line alive and the age intact. The score reads that as stable, low-risk access, which is exactly what lenders like. Myth 5. You need to pay interest to build good credit. No. Paying interest is optional if you pay the statement balance in full and on time. The scoring models don't reward interest paid. They reward on-time payments and low utilization. The industry makes money when you keep a balance, so the myth sticks around. But the math is simple. Interest is a tax on using money. You can demonstrate the behavior the model wants without tipping the house.
Here is your simple credit action plan. Now, let's turn this into steps you can run on autopilot. The goal isn't to game the system, it's to make the snapshot match your real habits and lock in the lowest cost of capital. Step 1. Set up automatic payments. Minimums on autopay protect you from a single missed due date that can haunt you for years. Then add a calendar reminder to pay statement balances in full before the due date. If you're rebuilding, pay at least the minimum on time and throw extra at the highest interest balance. On time is binary in the model. Hit it every month. Step 2. Manage utilization like a thermostat. Keep reported balances below 10% of your limits on each card and across all cards. Pay before the statement cuts so the reported snapshot shows low usage. If you have to spend more in a month, travel, repairs, split the payments. Mid-cycle payment on the 15th, then another before the statement date. Need a quick boost before a loan? Ask for a credit limit increase on accounts with strong history. If a hard pull is required, time it months before your major application. Step 3. Protect your oldest lines. Don't close your first card unless you have to. If it has a fee, downgrade it. Put a small recurring charge on it, like a streaming service, and keep autopay on. This preserves your age and your limit, which supports low utilization. If you have no old lines, start now. The best time to plant that tree ring was years ago. The second best is today. Step 4. Check your free credit reports annually at sites such as annualcreditreport.com and others. That's the legit site that pulls from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Look for errors, wrong balances, late payments you know were on time, accounts you don't recognize, duplicate collections. Errors can cost you rate tiers. Dispute in writing with simple, factual language. Attach proof. Be clear, be brief, and track the process. This is housekeeping that pays. Step 5. Build a deliberate credit mix only if it fits your life. A small installment loan you already have, like a student or auto loan, plus 1 or 2 credit cards used lightly and paid on time is enough. Don't open accounts just for mix. That's like buying tools you'll never use. The model wants proof you can handle access, not a museum of accounts. Step 6. Stop chasing points and start hitting tiers. Aim for the buckets that actually change pricing. 760 plus, 740 to 759, 720 to 739, 700 to 719.
If you're at 742, don't panic about 10 points. Focus on the levers: on time, low utilization, long history. Your rates will follow. Finally, reframe the score. It's not your worth. It's a ticket price for money. Use it to lower costs when you need capital: mortgage, auto, small business. Between those events, let it sit. Keep the habits steady. That's how you work the system instead of letting it work you. Here's the takeaway. Your credit score measures how profitable and predictable you are to lenders, not your character or net worth. So stop treating it like a moral grade. Keep leaning on the 3 levers that actually matter: on-time payments, low utilization, and long history, and ignore the noise and myths. If you want more straightforward breakdowns of how money works without hype, just clear steps, hit subscribe and watch the next video in this series. We'll keep turning complex systems into simple moves you can run on autopilot. It's time to learn how money works.